Early rumours from as far back as 3 or 4 months ago suggested that The Rock would be making an appearance at Survivor Series, but this has now been confirmed to not be the case by the man himself. The rumours originated from the Wrestling Observer, first from Dave Meltzer, who said that the WWE were working extremely hard to get The Rock, and then from Andrew Zarian, who said that they had got The Rock, but later confirmed that this was no longer the case. Early plans for The Rock had been to have him interrupting the match between Roman Reigns and Big E to basically ensure that Roman Reigns actually lost to Big E. This would naturally be a big boost to the career of Big E, who so far has taken on Bobby Lashley successfully, Drew McIntyre successfully, and Seth Rollins successfully, but not very successfully so far. That's the next up for Big E when he eventually steps back into the ring and takes that challenge on. Though he did, of course, pick up the win against Kevin Owens last week as Kevin Owens' leaving tour begins to pick up pace. The Rock's unavailability was not definitive, but The Rock was always going to be looking at different movie options when the opportunity to film more movies became apparent. The man himself has been very, very busy in Hollywood and has had a number of offers put out to him, but did not necessarily want to work, or at least work too hard, during the COVID pandemic. That pandemic at this point, basically all countries have agreed, is kind of under control. It's also kind of not, but it's kind of under control. So The Rock will be going back to work, and thus being available for Survivor Series can be very difficult, especially when you consider that The Rock is someone who is usually very physical in his films. If you've seen Jumanji, even if you've seen The Tooth Fairy, the man finds a way to make it very, very physical. And with this in mind, it seemed an easy decision to be able to say that The Rock would not be making an appearance. The WWE were also kind of struggling for a storyline. The idea was that Survivor Series would be the cut-off point leading into a WrestleMania match between Roman Reigns and The Rock. This was never formalised, but it's been planned basically since the day that Roman Reigns debuted on the main roster as part of The Shield in 2012. The WWE have always wanted Roman versus The Rock, and with this particular incarnation of Roman, a lot of the fans are starting to want Roman versus The Rock as well, myself included. I do believe this will happen. However, during the pandemic was sort of the ideal time because The Rock does have contractual obligations which prevent him from being too physical outside of movies. This creates problems when it comes to wrestling rings, especially after what happened during the WrestleMania 29 match. My apologies, the WrestleMania 28 match. Nope, I believe it was the WrestleMania 29 match against John Cena, when he picked up a pretty insane injury that ruled him out of the film that he was actually going to be starring in. So it made it all a little bit awkward going forwards, and it meant that movie companies are not willing to allow The Rock to wrestle if there is any chance that he is going to be physically required when it comes to the film he's producing. Voice acting is okay. Yes, I still haven't seen Moana, but will do eventually. It's now become a whole family thing, and I do apologise to anyone I've offended or hurt over the years by my steadfast refusal to at any point having watched Moana, but the day will come and I will celebrate The Rock in doing that. I've watched The Tooth Fairy. What more can I possibly do? What more pint of blood do you need? What more insane things do you people